Garrison Keillor once said that anybody who thinks sitting in church makes you a Christian must also think that sitting in a garage can make you a car. I kept thinking of that line this week when I was reading Jesus' gospel text. Beware of the scribes who like to walk around in long robes and to be greeted with respect in the marketplace, and to have the best seats in the synagogue and places of honor at banquets. They devour widows' houses, and for the sake of appearance say long prayers. They will receive the greater condemnation. I think what Jesus is trying to say is just because you sit in a garage doesn't make you a car. Just because someone gives away the money that they didn't need anyway doesn't mean that they are any more faithful to God than anyone else in the room. Like the poor widow, those who give all of what they have to God, even if it's 2 pennies and a tender heart, put far more into the treasury. Now, a lot of us get itchy when this passage comes up because it feels like a prelude to a guilt trip to give until it hurts. But I think it's actually a story about giving until it feels good. I think it's a story that reminds us that the more we give to God, the more we get back. Jesus' message here about our widow is that we all have something to give, not just the richest among us, but all of us. Did you know that statistics show that the poorest in the country give away a higher percentage of their income than the richest? Jesus is reminding us of the truth that we all have gifts to give. Putting our time and our money and our heart into a God-soaked community that pledges to uphold our deepest held values is an investment worth making. The good news is that the investment pays back in love and satisfaction and a priceless feeling of well-being. And at a time when so many of us feel powerless to affect change on a larger level, having a community to bring all of yourself into is priceless. Because we begin to find that in our shared commitment, we have agency to build a different world. In just a few minutes, we're going to have another group of folks who are pledging their commitment to this place. They're going to be joining into our membership. Whenever we hold a newcomer class, one of the questions that inevitably comes up is, what's the difference between being a member and just being a person who worships here each week? A more direct way of asking that is, what's in it for me? What do I get out of this? And truthfully, I tell them there is not much of a pragmatic, discernible difference in things that you get with membership. We don't believe in privileging some people over others because we don't believe that's what the Spirit of Jesus looks like. You are radically welcome here. Everybody, all people, are welcome to come to any worship service, every event we have, regardless of official status. I will be your pastor because I am called to pastor more than just the members of this church. We will still love and care for you as our own. I will do your weddings. I will baptize your babies. I will do your funerals, whether or not you have an official membership status. We believe that every person deserves a blessing. Your kids are welcome at Sunday school anytime, whether you are a guest or a friend or a member. You can volunteer for one of our fabulous outreach events that Jen spoke so beautifully about earlier. You can be part of the Christmas that we help create for Bethany House, whether you've joined or not. Laurie will seek you out and invite you to be a greeter. And the belonging team will make sure you know how to sign up for small groups, whether or not you are on our membership roster. You can take communion with us at our table. You can ask us to pray for you, and we will pray for you with as much love and spirit and tenderness as we would give to any other person. We'll even ask you to pledge your money to us, whether you have joined or not. Because somebody has to keep the lights on and the staff paid and the programs running, and if we're not all chipping in, it's going to fall on the person next to you, which isn't fair. So you can be financially committed here without even taking vows of membership. Here's what you miss when you aren't a member. You can't vote. But to be perfectly frank, that's not usually why people are looking for churches anymore, to be able to vote on a budget or whether or not to fix a roof. These activities are not always selling points to the faithful people, nor is the sometimes tedious work of serving on a committee. So why would somebody want to become a member of a church like ours? What you get with membership is really a chance to give. Like the widow who gave her all, your giving pays you back in something priceless. It pays you back in commitment and investment. And investment in a community matters to our own spiritual health, to the spiritual health of other people here. And commitment means forming deep and lasting relationships and sticking with them even when they get hard. Because investment means giving our all to something, and that's worth spending our life doing. Because commitment to something larger, a community focused on loving God and neighbor, pays us back in something more profound than we get anywhere else in our lives. And no, membership is not necessary. But the commitment gives us the security of knowing that we belong to one another, promising to walk with one another on a path of faith, giving our all to a community of imperfect people just like us, committing to do the best that we can, forgiving one another when we screw up, and catching one another when we fall. That promise, that symbolic commitment, that investment makes a difference. I liken it to living with somebody before you get married. You can live with a significant other for years and share finances, meals, even children, and still cross a significant, meaningful, sacred threshold when you make promises to bind your life with theirs. It feels different. And unlike marriage, you can leave our church and our membership at any time without filing divorce papers or even consulting a lawyer. But committing to stay, even when the going gets tough, matters. And showing up for one another matters. As members of this church, we are making the decision to give a part of ourselves away to the people in this room, maybe even all of who we are. And so showing up in body and spirit matters. What is the gift of giving our all to the church? We start to think in us terms rather than me terms. We feel a profound sense of belonging. We become shareholders rather than consumers. Molly Basquette, who is the pastor of First Congregational Church in Berkeley, likens it to taking off the bib and putting on the apron. We promise to raise each other's children, to walk each other through the hell of scary diagnoses and difficult conflict and death and new life. And we will watch together how God transforms mess into beauty. It's pretty beautiful, actually. When we invest in a community, our investment gives back to us. When we give ourselves away, you and I are repaid more than we have ever paid in. We are doing what the widow in our story does, Salem. We are taking everything we have, our tired, tender, maybe even terrified hearts, and a meaningful investment and offering it up in trust for what it can mean to the whole of the community. It is brave and it is not for everybody, but it is worth it. And I'm going to tell you the truth. This church will disappoint you because it is a human project, and humans are bound to disappoint. I will disappoint you since I am profoundly and deeply human. I will probably let you down at some point. And these people gathered here, we all probably will at some point too. At new member gatherings, Reverend Nadia Boltz-Weber warns her new people, or did when she ran a church, that this disappointment is inevitable. But she says, please decide on this side of that happening if after it happens, you will stick around. Because if you leave, you will miss the way that God's grace comes in and fills in the cracks of our brokenness. And it is too beautiful to miss. Don't miss it. And so, my beloveds, as we prepare to end our stewardship season 1 week from now, we invite you to give to this place. Give your all, even though it will probably disappoint you at one point or another. Don't miss the ways God's grace comes in and fills the cracks of our brokenness, because it is too beautiful to miss. Whether you are a member or not, take a risk and deepen your relationship with this church. Whether that looks like officially joining with other newcomers in just a few minutes, or volunteering at one of our upcoming events, or joining a ministry team, or bringing a friend to worship, or making a pledge to our 2026 budget. And if the Spirit moves you, by all means, do all of those things. Give your all to this flawed and fabulous human project so that we might learn to love God by loving one another, even when it's hard. Love is something that will always pay you back in spades if you give it away. May each of us have the courage to do so. Amen.